Hello and welcome into another episode of Around the Ice on Fantasy in Frames. I'm your host, JT, along with my buddy Toast. Aaron Tomachich can't make it tonight. Last second, had some stuff come up. So we're going to try to do our best without him to get things going here. This is our preseason action. We're talking about the Western Conference. If you missed our Eastern Conference breakdown, basically new signings, draft picks, all that good stuff, go ahead and check that out on YouTube. You can also go to your favorite podcasting site, check it out there, either on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Go check it out on any of those spots. That's the Eastern Conference last week. Western Conference tonight will also be uploaded tomorrow. Toast, there's no reason to just get crazy. You got the hat and jersey on. I got the shirt on. Let's get into the Blackhawks, baby. Let's get into the Blackhawks. Are we going to see any improvement this year? You know, the rebuild, it's been a process. We've been here. We knew it was going to be a couple of years. Where are we at in the rebuild for the Blackhawks?
Well, hey, and JT, before I get into the Blackhawks, let's just say this has been a great week for fantasy hockey. Our home league, we opened up free agency on Monday. So we had a big offseason, right? Of a month, a whole month, right? But now we're there. We did our draft. Now we actually opened up free agency, man. Guys like McGlynn just blew his entire wad on like 4 or 5 guys. He's got like $7 left in his fab. But I'm so pumped for this week. We have the ability to actually look for free agents, minor leaguers, guys that are actually major league eligible every single day. I picked up a Russian today. I picked up Chinikov for Columbus Blue Jackets. Daylor told me he wasn't worth a shit. You know what? That's fine. If you don't actually want the Russians, I'll take them. I'm jacked for fantasy hockey. All right. So, and the Blackhawks, let's talk about the Hawks. All right. So, the Hawks are actually going to open up again against the defending champions in the banner raising night in their own house. Does that happen every year with the Blackhawks? Yes, it happens every damn year, except last year, right? Last year, what we do, JT? We opened up against Utah, a new franchise. The Hawks get the. It's like Bettman is like, hey, would you guys like to get your ass kicked on opposing team's ice? We're going to raise a banner. Everybody's going to be jacked up. You're going to beat like 5-1. Are you okay with it? Yeah, we want to do that. That's exactly what's going on here. But let's talk about the Blackhawks. All right. Spend a little bit more time on the Hawks than we want on our teams. That's fine. You know what? This is our podcast. We can do it. So the Hawks will not be good again this year. All right. So, but after this year, every single person on their roster actually comes up for a new contract. They got so much freaking cap space. It's unbelievable starting next year. Next year is when they actually start to go. All right. This year is probably going to be in our top 5 pick. They may position themselves and during the season to go ahead and actually absorb again some other bad contracts, actually take on some guys. But don't discount the Hawks at the trade deadline this year to go ahead and actually maybe, just maybe, pick up somebody of relevance. We have a lot of UFAs coming up this year, JT. You know that. So everybody's gearing up for the 2026 entry draft in your fantasy leagues and you're in Dynasty. Everybody actually cares about that draft. They want that draft class. And the Hawks already have a couple first rounders. They got 3 second rounders. They're in great shape long term. So let's go ahead and go over a couple players that I think are going to be relevant for the Hawks this year in fantasy. All right. So Connor Bedard, we know he's actually going to be great. He's going to be a great player. Everybody kind of wants to talk about how like disappointing he's actually been. He hasn't played with anybody, JT, right? He hasn't played with anybody. No one. And he's already, I think, 3rd all time among Blackhawk teenagers in points scored all time. Right? So Bedard's going to be a great player. He's actually even improved. You should
Only
see
19,
actually
right?
only
Only
19 years
19.
old.
People forget
Came in at
about that.
17. This is going to be he had a 17-year, 18-year, and now 19. Nobody does that. Nobody does that, right? So in a team this dog shit, it's been really, really bad. He's going to be really, really good. All right. So Ryan Donato, he may be a player that guys actually want to go ahead and target this year just because of a deployment. And also, too, he's got a 4-year contract, $16 million total for AAV. He's going to get time on ice. He's probably going to get 18, 19 and a half minutes time on ice a night. Deployment's good. He's going to be with Bedard likely. Take a flyer on him. I mean, why not? You're just looking for guys to actually eat minutes. Their big pickup analysis, Andre Burakovsky. That's the big pickup, right? It's not that big of a pickup. That's their big pickup. Get him from Seattle. And this was more so, hey, let's go ahead and actually commit to a guy. So I got 2 years left on a $5.5 million deal. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter because we're not committing to him long term. And he probably needs to change the scenery considering he was really, really not actually hitting it over in Seattle. I like that addition. So if you actually look at Burakovsky, Bedard, Frank Nazar, love Frank Nazar. Frank Nazar is going to be a really, really good player in this league. And they got really, really good young defensemen. Well, the Levshinov, Renzel, and Del Mastro, Vlasic, you name it. Those are all going to be fantasy guys that are actually going to be relevant because this team will be good. They're a top market team. And just give them one more year. And then starting next year, they're going to want to win. They're not wanting to win right now. So, but JT, so to recap their free agency, they didn't do much, right? All they actually did is status quo. They held on to their contracts. They held on their cap space, sorry, and their picks, and they signed Burakovsky. That's really, really it. But think about what they did last year during the deadline. They got Spencer Knight as a goalie.
I was just going to say, Toast, my favorite move of the entire offseason might be the Spencer Knight move. I love that for them. Even though his stats might not end up looking great on a team that's not super good, you want to see what this guy has. Test him a little bit. Give him a full season.
Yes.
Sorry, he's been behind Bob for the last couple of years. Let him run a whole year out there, see what he's got, because then you know, is this a guy we think could be our future or not? If he is, fantastic. If he isn't, and you just see him face it every day and get beat down, and he fights through, then you go, okay, hey, man, we're going to be better in the future. Like you said, they got the draft picks sitting there. Next year's free agent class is going to be way better than this class. They're setting themselves up for a chance to sign some really nice players. And, again, this team hasn't been good, but, dude, people want to play in Chicago. Chicago is a hockey town, great tradition. These guys will want to sign once they realize they've got a group in place, right? As soon as they realize, like, hey, we got Bedard, we got these other guys, I'm the missing piece. You can get some of these guys will eventually want to sign with the Blackhawks. I'm not worried about that. Are you worried about that? I don't think so. No. I think that they can get big free agents when they want them.
Absolutely, JT. And here's the deal. I know we're spending a lot of time on the Hawks. You know what? It's fine. There's plenty of Blackhawks fans out there. They actually love this. Here's what I'm going to say. Beyond not the 2025-26 season, beyond the 26-27, so that's 2 more years, the Hawks have 3 players under contract right now. Ryan Donato at $4 million, and Tyler Bertuzzi at 5.5, and Alex Vlasic at 4.6. So if you take out this upcoming season and the next season, we have 3 players under contract. Tons of picks, tons of cap space, large market. They're the Blackhawks. We actually got Connor Bedard is actually not going anywhere at all. Frank Nazar is not going anywhere at all. Frank Nazar is a 200-foot player. He can actually play in this league. He's going to be a really, really good player in this league. Alex Vlasic's going to be a great player in this league. Art Leshinoff's going to be a really good player in this league as well. Sam Renzel, Kevin Korchinski, and it goes on. Spencer Knight. The Hawks will be back, all right? But not next year. But from a fantasy perspective, don't let that actually get you down. Somebody's got to score. They're not going to not score.
They should be feisty though, right? Because they were feisty last year. We got in on a lot of bets on them last season. And if you haven't listened to us before and you haven't followed us before, during the season we do a lot of breakdown of fantasy, but we also do our bets, our toast takes. A lot of bets.
Lots
So
of
follow
bets.
us for those. A lot of bets. We got in heavy on the Blackhawks at the end of the year because they were feisty. We could get them plus 1.5 goals in a ton of games because they were in games nonstop. I love this. We know that goalies, they don't hit till like late 20s, early 30s easy. You got
Yes.
Spencer Knight, 24 years old.
Yeah.
24.
It's a
I just
great
want to
pickup.
see him. I want to see him get out there every night and see what he can do every night. And he's going to have some bad nights because they're going to lose some games. So he's going to have some
They're
bad
going
nights.
to.
But I want to see him compete. I want to see him stay mentally in the game when he's getting worked. I want to see that. I love that pickup. To me, I think that's one of the sneaker trades and the sneaker moves because now you can give him a whole year to learn. And even if he's not great, he's still only 24. Get a whole year to kind of like really build it because he's never had a full starting season. He's always been a backup since he's been in the league. I just, man, learned from Bob down there in Florida. I thought it was just a freaking great move. I think Florida just thought, hey, man, we're going to have to pay him way too much coming up, and we have Bob already.
Yep.
Like, I just think they thought it was time to make a move there, but I thought it was a great pickup by the Blackhawks. I think super underrated because it kind of happened at the end of last year as opposed to the offseason. So I think that's a really good move. One of my favorites. But again, like you said, Toast, just because the Blackhawks as a team aren't going to be good doesn't mean they're not going to be more fantasy relevant this year. I think they're going to be a lot more fantasy relevant than they have been the last couple of years.
Yep. Two guys I'll actually mention, and you hit it on the head, JT, but Ryan Donato is going to go undrafted in most redraft leagues. He is worth a late round flyer because of deployment, because of the contract. Very comfortable in Chicago, wanted to come back. And also to Frank Nazar, if you could in a dynasty league, if you can get him now, get him cheap because this guy, again, I believe he'll be a top 50 player in the league in 3 years from now. Okay. So again, he can do about everything on the ice. Last year, if you look at Nazar's stats, honestly, 26 points in 53 games doesn't like jump off the page at you. He was 20. Okay. Didn't shoot the puck a whole lot. 91 shots on goal in 53 games as well. But again, he was on. He kills penalties. He's actually on a power play as well. This guy is going to be a really damn good second line center. I would say go get him in a lot of leagues.
And Toast, he's a Detroit, Michigan guy. Grew up in Michigan. Like, if any team in America has had super good success with American-born players, it feels like it's the Blackhawks, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Like the Blackhawks have had,
Kane, yeah, absolutely.
Like they've had probably more success with American-born players than anyone in the league in the history. To me, he's a sneaky good buy right now. I like that call a lot. So we spent under 15 minutes on the Blackhawks. So, hey, that's a win. We're going to move on to the next teams because we know there's a lot more teams still out there for us to get to. We're going to get through there. We're going to go to the next team here. They've been in the mix forever. A team that as a Red Wings fan, I've learned to hate over the years, the Colorado Avalanche. Yeah. But, man, they're a fun team to watch. And for fantasy purposes, man, they're always in the mix. They crushed me betting-wise last year. I don't know how I lost some bad bets to the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks covered against them a couple times, but this is a fun team to watch. What has happened? Some movement here for Colorado. Where are we at here for the Avalanche?
Yeah, so here's the deal. If Gabe Landeskog can actually come back and be even remotely the close to the player he was before the injury, and he showed it in the playoffs. He had a really, really good playoffs. I like Landeskog. A lot of guys are going to pass on Landeskog, especially in redraft leagues. They're going to think, go ahead and maybe wait till 8th, 9th round, somewhere around there, just because they're just unsure. He showed me enough in the playoffs where I think go ahead and, if you want to go ahead and in a redraft league, let's say 10, 12 team league, 6th, 7th round, you're looking at 60 to 75 pick overall. Look who he's playing with, man. All right. So they got Landeskog right now actually slated on second line with Brock Nelson and Valerie Nichushkin. Man, Nichushkin, Nelson, Landeskog. You got McKinnon, Lankinen, and Natchez on the first line. These first two lines are stacked. Doesn't even actually get into Ross Colton on the third line. And so Landeskog is a big key to this team. If he can come back, and he's only 32, all right, so he's been away for a while. But if you can actually get him at a decent price, steal him, he may be a steal of a draft. Also, I really, really like Brock Nelson. They finally have shored up that second center position. It's taken them a long time, and they lost Nelson Kadri. I'm sorry, Kadri a couple years ago. I said Brock Nelson, Kadri a couple years ago, the free agency, and they struggled to find that. But now Brock Nelson, 33 years old, he is going to be a mainstay. He's an easy second line center on an offense like this. It's going to be pretty dynamic. I would say, man, he had 26 goals, 30 assists, 56 points for 80 points or 80 games last year. But look at who he has a deployment with, right? So that second line of Colorado is going to be key, man, especially the first power play as well. So get you some of the Brock Nelson if you can. I think Brock Nelson's the guy, and Gabe Landeskog. And JT, you and I actually got some Brent Burns in a cap league for $1 million. I like it.
Cap league pickup. If depending on your league scoring, what you're doing, if you're in a cap league like me and Toast, we were up against it. We needed some defensive help. He's a guy that's been making insane amounts of money for years. He's at $1 million right now. Technically, he's the third line guy. But you know how Brent Burns, if he's healthy, things are going, he could possibly see some power play deployment there. I like Burns. If you're up against it in a cap league, he's a nice little pickup for $1 million. Here's the thing is, if he ends up being terrible, you can drop him. You're not going to eat that much of his salary.
Right.
If he ends up being a disaster or gets hurt. But we've seen it, Toast. Like 40-year-old defensemen can still be good in this league. They can still be good in this league. When he was making 8, 9, 10 million, no, thank you. But he's making $1 million. He's making $1 million. Like, he's worth it. We picked him up in one of our leagues. I like him. I think he's sneaky good. And here's a guy, because Aaron's not on the show, that I feel like we got to bring up, because I feel like we'd be cheating him if we didn't. Martin Necas.
Oh, yeah.
On the move last year. To me, this feels like he's going to get a full season in Colorado. I am super pumped about him if I can get him in a redraft league. Obviously, if I can trade for him at Dynasty, it'd be huge. But I just think him being on this first line, playing next to Nathan McKinnon, I just think it's going to just unlock Necas. He looked really good in the short time he was in Colorado after the trade last year. He's a guy I'm all about this season.
Yeah, JT, you hit on the head. If you think that this is like kind of slot in a player, a really good player, and actually take off running, and they can do what previous players did here before, Rantanen, right? I think Necas can do that.
He can.
I tell you what,
he can. If he gives you Rantanen numbers without the name. Without the name profile, like, dude, you could get him so much later, and he could literally be a league winner, especially in redraft leagues, especially if you're not in a big league. Just because where you could end up getting him at, I think he's highly underrated right now. And I think the closer you get to the season, I think you're going to see more and more people get on board. You're going to see more and more articles online about how he's a steal. He's the guy you got to have. If you're in one of these drafts that takes a little bit earlier in the year, you guys start a little earlier, just put him, mark him, the wish list, whatever, watch list, put him on there. I think he's in for a monster year.
He is. You know what? From a cap league perspective, I really like him. 1 year left on a $6.5 million deal at 26 years old. He is going to get paid, and he's going to actually get paid very well. I like him to go ahead and sign coming up here with McKinnon only being 29 and actually kind of tying those guys together. McKinnon is signed for, a gazillion more years. I like Necas to go ahead and sign for probably in the neighborhood of 9, 10, somewhere on there as the cap actually goes up. and it's probably going to be more like a 6 or 7, 8 year deal. So if you can get him now, man, he's going to be tied to the hip at McKinnon. I just believe that. It's obvious. He's going to. So, and I also like the fact that he is right wing, left wing, and center eligible in a lot of different formats. So if you can get him, he has so much flexibility. He's got the pedigree. He's young. He's got a great contract. He's not going to break the bank with a $14 million or $13 million deal coming up here. There's nothing to not like. He's going to be great.
And we got a comment from our buddy Mike. Mike, thanks for joining in. He says, speaking of the Avalanche, did Toast ever watch the Red Wings Avalanche 30 for 30 doc? He said he was going to watch it. Toast, I love that documentary.
Amazing.
It's fire. Did you ever get a chance to watch the whole thing?
I did. So one night I decided to go ahead and podcast here, go ahead and get in some drinks, watch that documentary, watch a little bit of Goon after that. And honestly, it ended up being 2 a.m. But yes, I did. I watch it. It was amazing. And why did it take me that long to actually watch it? I don't know. Probably because it was the Red Wings. But here's the deal, JT. You've actually decided to actually like the Blackhawks. I've actually decided to actually like the Red Wings a whole lot. I do, because we're in different conferences now, right? So we can actually cheer for one another, and you have to have a hell of a lot of respect.
There's still the rivalry, but you can have respect because now you're on both sides. I'm still telling you, a Blackhawks Red Wings Stanley Cup would break it.
Oh,
it'd be if they actually ever got to the thing, it'd be amazing. It'd be absolutely amazing. I, as a Red Wings fan living in Illinois, because my mom's family is all from Michigan, or we're all Red Wings fans, grew up a Red Wings fan, but I have respect and root for the Hawks now because I'm on the other side, and all my other friends, all you guys are all Hawks fans. So I'm like, I don't feel like I'm cheating on the Red Wings now because we're in totally different conferences. So it doesn't matter. We're on the totally opposite side. So it's all right.
Yeah. Hey, JT, I got good news for you right here, man. I'm just going to go ahead and just point it out right now. We're really far into this podcast right now. We've went through 2 teams, but here's the deal. Who cares? Let's let it naturally happen. No. Let's just let it naturally happen. I'm good. Let's go.
Mike said he's sad he did not get the invite, Toast. He did not get the invite. But hey, we might have to get together before the season starts and go through the whole mix. Go through the whole mix. There, I tell you what, if you're a Prime Video member, do yourself a favor, search hockey documentaries. There is a sneaky good amount on there that I did not know were on there that I've watched over the summer. There's a couple really good ones. So check it out. I know there's the one about Vegas making the championship in the first year. There's the Russian 5, which is all about all the Russian players coming over. Crazy. All the work it took to get those guys come over to the Red Wings. I know, Tosh, you're a Russian guy. You like all the Russians on Columbus. So I feel they're the new Red Wings, like the old school Red Wings with all the Russians.
That's right.
Columbus has all the
Russians.
Up
and coming, man.
They're up and coming. They got all the Russians. And then there's a Bob Probert one. It's super sad, but also really good. Bob Probert, awesome. I got to break out my Bob Probert NHL 93 hockey shirt for a podcast one night. But that's a great one too. So we might do Toast. We might have to do a hockey documentary breakdown one of these nights. So
you know what? Great.
We're gonna move along because we got to get this whole podcast. We got through everybody, but we're we're putting it on the list. Toast, write it down. We're putting it on the list of things to do. So hey, let's jump in to the next team on the list so we don't get too far behind tonight. New Jersey Devils. Oh no! I'm on the wrong list. What I'm talking crazy talk. Dallas Stars. A team that we've been on the last couple of years to win the Stanley Cup. They're a team we liked. A team I still feel like they have more talent than they've shown fantasy-wise. I don't know about you. I think they have better players than the numbers have come out on the fantasy end of things, but just a super overall talented team. What are we looking at from the Stars right now?
Mikko Rantanen will actually settle in this next year as a 28-year-old coming into the season for a full season with the Stars. So last year, honestly, stats weren't bad at all. So let's just they weren't bad. So 18 points in 20 games with Dallas, and he had 6 points in 13 games with Carolina. 3 teams last year, 64 points in 49 games with Colorado. Last year, he was just bounced around. we are going to see, and here's the deal with Colorado, 22:30 time on ice on average. When he actually went to Dallas, 19:07. Why? Because Colorado is more top heavy than Dallas. Dallas can roll four lines at you, and that's just how they roll. All right. So, but I think that Mikko Rantanen, expect the Mikko Rantanen coming up this year that you're accustomed to. You're going to have 100 points. You're going to have about 100, or like maybe 1.25, 1.3 points per game. You're probably going to have 21 minutes time on ice, way up from 19 minutes. Doesn't sound like a lot. 19 minutes versus 21 and a half minutes. It's a hell of a lot, man. That's another 4 shifts a game. That's a big time difference. And Dallas, they made so many moves during the season last year and expected that team to kind of gel. And they didn't, but here's the deal, like Dallas is so good. They're going to be great. So I love Mikko Rantanen. If you can go ahead and say, hey, Rantanen, I'm going to get him, and you can like capitalize on maybe what people think he's not going to be because he's actually not tied to McKinnon anymore. Don't doubt this guy. He's really, really good. $12 million cap hit for the next 8 years. You will actually see he's only 28. And 4 years from now, that's going to look really, really good because players his caliber, top 10, 12 players in the league, are going to be making on average of $14, $15 million because the cap's going up. 12 is going to look really, really good. Okay. So go get him. I love him.
Yeah, I love it, Toes. I was going to say, jumping in on Rantanen, I didn't love him on Carolina because of the type of offense they run.
They don't play it. They don't want to play offense.
I didn't like it at all. I think he is the perfect fit for Dallas because they were a team with a lot of good players, but they didn't have any superstar scorers.
Yeah.
Rantanen is the superstar scorer this team needed. I tell you what, preseason, I'm going to be all over Stars Stanley Cup champions. I'm gonna be putting in an early bet on them. I really like this team. I think Rantanen is the guy they needed. They needed a big time go-to scorer because I love Ruby Hintz. I love Jason Robertson. I love Wyatt Johnson. All those guys, really good players, not just clear-cut scorers. They needed some guys that just put points on the board. Rantanen's that guy. I love the contract, like you said. They've got him locked up. You know he's going to be there. The defense with Miro Heiskanen and those guys are really good. Ottinger's are really good. They're going to be right in the mix again. And I think a whole year for Rantanen with Dallas is going to be a huge deal. I'm not worried about the time on ice. Like you said, this team is way deeper than Colorado. I think they can keep them a little more fresh throughout the year. I'm not worried at all. I'm grabbing him everywhere I can.
Yep, absolutely. We could go on with Dallas like we did Colorado and Chicago. Well, Chicago too long because the fact that that's our team, but Colorado and Dallas all night. But we should move on to Minnesota, JT.
Right quick before we move on to Minnesota, let's talk real quick about Wyatt Johnson. Been really solid so far. Do we think this is the year he makes the jump? We've seen really good, like, short periods where he's been, like, awesome. Do we think he makes the jump this year where he is, like, a legit dude all the time? What do you think?
If there's any doubt about Wyatt Johnson and you have any opportunity in your leagues to buy low for what I would say is going to be a top 25 player, and in Dynasty, forget about it. Okay. Dynasty, he's untouchable in Dynasty. But if it's a redraft, go either trade for him or draft him. I would say probably late second round. If you're actually on a churn in like a 12-team league and I pick like 21, 22, don't hesitate to pick this guy. Here's the reason why. 22-23 season, that was his year 20, 41 points in 82 games. His year 21 season, 65 points in 82 games. And last year, which a lot of people thought was kind of a disappointment, which is crazy. He got off a slow start and he picked it up. 71 points in 82 games. He's 22 right now, guys. He's going to be, I mean, he's a can't miss. He's a can't miss. Shooting 15% 3 years ago, 15% 2 years ago, and 16% this year. That's consistency. I like it. the time on ice has actually went up as well. They're going to start relying on him more. This is a guy in redraft leagues. I would say value him as a top 25 player because him and Rantanen are going to be this best player. Robertson is 25 years old. There's been talk of shipping out Robertson, and he has a UFA. He has one more year on that contract. He's not a given. This guy's a given. He's actually been there. He's actually been tied up here for a long time. Rantanen's tied up for a long time. You want to hitch your wagon into this guy.
So let's jump into the Minnesota Wild. A young team, some exciting players for fantasy purposes. I just saw a list that came out today, had Matt Boldy as one of the top 10 guys in the league under 25 years old. We got your guy, Joel Eriksson Ek, in the mix here. Kaprizov, if he can stay healthy, another one of those stud Russians. I love him. His birthday is right next to mine. He's an April guy. Marco Rossi is a guy me and you were a big fan of a couple years ago in drafts. We were picking him up when he was just coming into the league. What are we thinking here on Minnesota?
Yeah, interesting with Rossi. So right now he's an RFA. He is the biggest RFA to not sign a contract yet. He is not under contract. Somebody could actually offer sheet him. I mean, God, what would it take? It would take like 4, 5, 6 first rounders. I'm not kidding. It would take a ton. Nobody's going to do it. So they actually have $14 million in cap space right now. Rossi's yet to sign. When he actually signs, the big thing is right now, Kaprizov, he is a UFA starting next season. But I tell you what, JT, Kaprizov will look really good in a Blackhawks uniform. I'm telling you right now. Will they actually be able to keep him? Is he actually going to want to stay here? If I'm Kaprizov, I stay. I stay because I look at Boldy, Eriksson Ek. All right. Zuccarello's old. He's not going to be there actually long. But if you got Boldy, you got Eriksson Ek, you got Marco Rossi. And then if you actually look at the Brock Faber, man, if you're not in a Banners league and you're actually just a straight scoring league and Dynasty, Faber at defense, 22 years old, $8.5 million forever. Love that, especially if it's not in a cap league, right? If you actually just get him, he's not going to bang a lot. But if you're in a straight scoring league, what I'm saying, he's going to be really, really good. And then they actually got Gustafsson as goalie. One more year at $3.75 million, and he's going to get paid as well. The problem's going to be is, hey, they're going to be up against the cap. But here's the deal. Zach Parise, Ryan Suter, those dead cap things they actually had hindering them forever. I'm talking $13, $14, $15 million a season in dead cap where they just couldn't get out of their own way. That's over now. It's over. They don't have any dead cap anymore. So now they actually have the flexibility of 81 on the cap right now, million, and 15 available. And you have a lot of UFAs actually coming up. They can finally settle in and say, okay, we're going to sign Kaprizov. They can't let Kaprizov walk. But man, Kaprizov, Boldy, Eriksson Ek, those are your three guys. Hey, JT, your guy, Vladimir Tarasenko, at 33, signs a 1-year deal at $4.75 million. I kind of like that. All right. Like, honestly, new scenery. Tarasenko's always been a guy where it's like, boy, is he really hustling? Is he really giving us all? Kind of like a slacker, so to speak. Not to actually get, like too many movie quotes and stuff, but that's what he's actually been. So this is actually going to be very interesting. They have their core. They have their core. Keep them together.
And it made sense for the Wings to move along. They have a bunch of young guys coming up, trying to keep, a guy like Patrick Kane. There's some of those guys. Tarasenko just didn't work in the plans. I think he could work out here with a younger group of guys. I think it'd be all right. Let's move on to the Predators. We want to talk about getting a little up there in age. I know me and you, Toast, are getting up there, but the Nashville Predators, man, they seem like one of the oldest teams in the league. They're relying on a lot of older veterans, guys who have been fantastic throughout their career. But can they keep it together? How much longer can they keep it together? What are we thinking on the Predators? This is a team that seems like last year was a transition year. They highly disappointed from what people thought they were going to do. What do we think on the Predators going into this year?
They are old. So if you look at Forsberg, Stamkos, Marchessault, Riley, as well as Yossi, they're all 30 plus, and the majority of those guys are 35 plus. I'll say one thing and one thing only. Philip Forsberg is a machine. He
Yep.
loves to shoot the puck. We bet him so many times last year, JT, where he would actually just say, you know what, Forsberg for 4 shots. And then Gale would actually just text me like in the first period, like, it's done. It's over. He got it. Yeah. He's going to shoot. He's going to shoot often. We got him for 5 more years on an $8.5 million contract. I love Forsberg because he is the number one scoring option on his team. He is a top 12 fantasy player. He'll hit his ass off as well. He'll get some blocks. He'll shoot the puck a ton, over 300 times, and he'll actually have over 100-point scoring. Forsberg, that's all you need to know about Nashville. Get Forsberg on your team if you're in redraft league. If you're in a late end of the first round, 10, 11, 12, if he's there at like 8, get him because he's going to do everything depending on your scoring format. Love Philip Forsberg. Steven Stamkos has to be better, but he's 35. You just don't know, right? They had 3 more years at $8 million. He's got to be better than last year. But this team, from a winning perspective, non-fantasy, I don't really think they're going anywhere. All right. UC Saros is going to keep them in games. He's got a long contract ahead of him, $7.74 million for a long, long time. I think they're going to be a steady team. But Forsberg is a man. All right, man. So go get him. Like, if it's between
Yeah,
him and
to
like
me, Toast,
like go get him. It's not even
he,
close.
yeah, Forsberg seems like one of the only guys on this team I'm like eyeing, like in fantasy. Like I want Forsberg, and he's going to be underdrafted because the team is not good and he's old. But I really like him. There's not a ton of other guys on this team that I'm like racing out to get. Like there's some guys I'll take.
Yeah.
I'll take them when they fall. Roman Yoshi had some injuries last year. I've got him in few leagues. Still like him. This guy still puts up stats like we've talked about. The really, really high end defensive players in their mid to late 30s, early 40s can still perform. He can still perform. I still like him. If you're in a league that is going to give you a load of points for saves, doesn't go high in wins, but gives you a lot of points for saves, like say maybe a category league, I really like Saros this year. I think a goalie,
Yeah.
I think he can make, because I think this team is going to be feisty with some people. I don't think they're going to be good. So I don't want a team that's like needing heavy wins, but I think he's going to make a lot of saves. I think he's going to be in the mix. If you don't take huge points for losses or huge points for wins, but you get more for total saves and percentages, I kind of like him in that kind of format.
Yeah, and JT, one last thing. I 100% agree. Great call out. One last thing I actually want to mention with Nashville. Ryan O'Reilly, I know he's old, all right? So he's 34 years old, but he's going to be centering that top line with actually Forsberg. And if you look at his stats, he's kind of getting better as he gets older. All right. So if you're in a redraft league, again, or let's say actually we're in a dynasty league. If you're in a dynasty league, non-cap, don't hesitate to actually take a risk on Ryan O'Reilly for like a year and actually go ahead and maybe flip him at the deadline if you actually roll really deep. If not, he's going to get great deployment. He's produced. He's getting better again as he's actually been here. So I like that. Besides that, like Yossi, he's often injured, man. 35 years old. He's actually getting up there. I still love him when he's on the ice. He's going to produce. But besides those guys, honestly, I'm not a big fan of Michael Bunting. Bunting's actually coming over there from Pittsburgh. He doesn't hit, doesn't do a lot of blocking. Eric Hala actually does a little bit of that as well. So I would say Hala is probably not a bad pickup. I'm not sure about power play deployment, but man, Forsberg, I'm telling you, he is going to dominate fantasy. So get him in any top 10 format. If you're in the late round or the first round, 8, 9, 10, 11, if he's still there, do not pass on him.
Let's jump into the Blues. This is a team that's been in transition a little bit. They made some moves lately. There's a lot of names. If you go through this roster and you have not been paying attention to the Blues the last couple of years, there's a lot of names you're going to recognize. There's some older guys on this team. They made some moves. There's some young guys that you might not recognize. I tell you what, Toast, I know that as Blackhawks, Red Wings fans for all us in this podcast, the Blues tend to be the team we trash on the most, just the way it happens. They have some sneaky good fantasy values on this team. I know we've talked about it. We've gone through some drafts and got some guys at some really nice places in drafts. And we've got some guys on free agent waiver wires. And I'm like, I can't believe that guy's still out there, especially in a salary cap league. Let's talk about the Blues and some of the guys that might be sneaky good pickups for this season.
Yeah. Hey, Rob Thomas, man. Not the singer, JT, but the hockey player. He is an assist machine. So, love this guy. Only 26 years old. He is projected this year on Fantrax anyway for 71 assists, 27 goals. It's a sneaky pick because the Blues are not like flashy. They're not going to have a whole lot of guys who are like, oh my gosh, I got to get him. And I would think Kyrou is probably going to go ahead of Rob Thomas in most leagues and also ahead of Dylan Holloway, who was actually offer sheeted away from Edmonton last year. Those guys are probably going to be better than actually him this year. So sneaky picks, Dylan Holloway, Rob Thomas. They're both super young, especially in Dynasty. If you can get them late in redrafts, go ahead and get them first before you get Kyrou. You're going to get better value. You really are. Colton Parayko. Parayko is a guy, JT, in our home league that actually has hits, blocks, and actually had a premium. That's a guy who actually we looked at strong in our league because if you look at him, here's the last couple of hits and blocks years. Last year, 92 hits, 149 blocks. Hits, 23-24, 113 hits and 218 blocks. Here's what I like about him too. He always gets about 150 shots on goals as well. And in the last couple of years, he is scoring 10 goals in 23-24, 16 goals in 24-25. If you're in a bangers league, Colton Parayko is probably a top 20 option at defense, and you don't need to overlook him. The fact that he's 32, do not actually worry about that at all. I love Colton Parayko. Another one actually Philip Broberg is a young defenseman actually coming up for St. Louis. I just wonder, and JT, I'm looking right now. This is a guy who right now he's actually slated for power play right now. Power play number 2. They got Cam Fowler. They got Justin Falk. They actually have Broberg. Broberg's more talented at this point in his career than those guys are. I like Broberg if you're in a dynasty league. Go ahead and pick him up because I think he's going to get a hell of a lot of minutes in St. Louis.
I tell you what, the sneaky guy for me on this team in a deep league, if you're just looking to fill space, you're like, hey, who's a guy can maybe get cheap and just get me something? As a third line guy, Jake Neighbors. I like Jake Neighbors. Yes. 22 goals, 24 assists, 46 points last year. Played all 82 games. Got about 15 minutes per game ice time as a third liner.
That's low.
It's low, but he's a guy I think is gonna get more time. And he did get you some points last year. So he's a guy, people kind of forget about him. He was a former top pick for them. He was a first rounder in 2020 for them. Still a young guy. He's making his way up thing. So even in Dynasty, if you're in a Dynasty league and you're like, man, I need to pick up some guys to fill in some roster spots, maybe hold some younger guys. Neighbors is a guy I like. He's not going to crush for you. He's probably not going to win you the league, but he's going to get you some points here and there, especially in deeper leagues where you're like, oh, I need somebody to give me time on ice. I like him. So he's a sneaky one for me in deeper leagues.
Yeah, and JT, before we wrap up St. Louis, look at their core. Rob Thomas, 26 years old. Dylan Holloway. And look at Holloway's stats last year. as a 22-year-old last year. All right. I'm bringing those up right now. Actually, want to take a look. 63 points in 77 games.
They're a
Only
team
shooting
that's
14 for
gotten way
60.
younger, right, Toast? And like,
They have.
it's not like people have noticed. Like, they've gotten a little old on defense because they've decided, like, hey, let's get all these
Very
young guys
old
up
defense.
front.
Yep.
Let's get older guys on defense to kind of hold down the fort while these young guys figure it out on offense. But that's why I said I feel like this team is sneaky. There's sneaky good value from St. Louis that a lot of people aren't talking about these guys, even though they're young and putting up pretty good numbers.
Yep. Rob Thomas, Dylan Holloway, Jordan Kyrou, and Jake Neighbors. That's their core right there. That's their 4 core right there. They're all 23, 26, 27 years old. And, man, they get overlooked. And I hate the Blues, man. I hate them. It's like there's not a franchise I hate worse. But somebody's going to score the puck, and those guys are going to score a shit ton. They're very top heavy in the top 6. I
just think people are not on a lot of their guys, even though they're putting up better numbers than people realize. So keep an eye on those Blues players in your drafts, or in Dynasty League, if somebody's not all over those guys, they're willing to move them. Like, you get somebody like Toast who's like, I hate Blues players, I'll trade you them. Go ahead and go steal that guy from somebody like that in your league, because they do have some sneaky good players. Let's move on to the Utah Yeti. The Mammoth. I'll never let it go.
You shouldn't.
Toast, I just got in our new league on you on Dahmer. Because of this, I named my team the Wyoming Yeti. We're the Wyoming Yeti. It's my hockey team name for our league because Utah screwed it up. So starting a new team there. We're going to dominate. Okay, I'm pumped to be in the league. But let's talk about the Mammoth. It could have been worse. Mammoth was my second option, so I won't complain too much about it, as they do have some cool logos. I'm glad they actually have a mascot now. Appreciate that. This is a team pretty interesting. They've got some guys on here. This team was, I don't know if they were better than they were expected last year. I feel like anything that was outside of Arizona is better because they were so bad and so disappointing there for so many years. I felt like anything was going to be a plus, but they've got some nice guys on this team, some pretty interesting guys. Let's talk about what the Mammoth bring here in year 2 in Utah.
I would say one of the free agent and draft winners of the entire NHL. They make a big trade. They get J.J. Peterka from Buffalo. That's huge, man. JT, I'm going to go ahead and read off their top 6 here. All right, the Mammoth. I still want to say Yeti. Fine, I'm with you. Peterka, Cooley, and Gunther on the first leg. Gunther, I'm going to predict right now, if health is there, he's only 20 years old. And all these guys are young. They're all young. If he actually have health on his side, he's going to score 40 this year. We saw him on opening night versus the Hawks back on my back porch, right? That guy has a release like nobody's business, man. It's amazing. Clayton Keller, he's been waiting for this type of production from other teammates. 26 years old. Another guy's probably, he's a 90-point guy, 95-point guy. Logan Cooley. So think about this. Peterka, Cooley, and Gunther on line 1. Keller, Barrett Hayton, and Nick Schmaltz, the ex-Hawk, on line 2. And then Lawson Krause, Jack McBain, who actually just signed for $4.25 million. I think that's a steal. And then Kyler Yamamoto. It's fine. And then Kevin Stenlin, Brandon Tanev, and Alex Kerfoot on line 4. That is maybe one of the best line 4s in all of hockey, all the way top to bottom. And JT, I actually want to talk about a little bit about the Utah's goalies. I think Vemelka, their goalie at 29 years old, he's going to get the majority of starts. They signed Vanacek. That actually comes over from Washington at 29 as well. But this is an up-and-coming team. If you want to go ahead and cash in on a goalie, that you actually think is going to be a mainstay for years, and it can actually be sneaky good late round in your redrafts, then Melk is the guy. All right. So because he got so much talent in front of him.
If you're in a redraft league that gives pretty good points for goalies and you need to get 3 of them, he's a great third goalie for your team.
Oh my gosh!
If you wait and you add him in, he's going to get a good amount of starts. I think Utah's going to be better this year. I really like that move. I think if you could get him as an extra goalie in leagues especially leagues that start like 2 goalies, then you can get him as your third goalie. I really like that move.
Oh, definitely. But they, in my mind, they were one of the winners in the offseason. Getting Peterka, their young core, they are set up for success. And JT, how Utah and Salt Lake City actually supports their franchises, man. I mean, they just go crazy over this shit. So I love the Hawks.
Dude, Utah is a great place for hockey. I thought it was a great move. The NHL, we see some of these teams move to places. You're like, you're going to an area with already like 6 other pro teams. What are you doing? Like, they move these teams to other huge cities that like people aren't going to support hockey. Moving to Utah to me made the most sense ever. I mean, just absolutely made total sense because you got the Jazz there and you've got college football. Like, it made sense to get them there. Utah is a great area for hockey. Been great support. They crushed the jerseys. Everything other than the Yeti. If they would have got the Yeti done, I would have bought a jersey. I would have got a jersey. But I like what they've done. I think this is up and coming. I think this is just nothing but an upgrade for the NHL, just in general for these players. I mean, nothing against the Phoenix area in general. That was just a mess. They weren't fixing that. That wasn't going to get fixed. It was a move. We saw, people get behind them last year, and that's what you want, right? As a franchise, you want people coming to games. You want to be somebody that's interesting. You want to get people that are, going to games, supporting the team into the league, and I think you have that with Utah. I'm glad they finally came up and grabbed an actual name with the Mammoth. But I like this team. The only thing I don't like about this team is I don't like their defense. I'm not a big fan of everybody on this team outside of Sergachev. They're just it's a definitely a little bit of an iffy defensive group here. So right now John Marino's on the first line. He's had injury problems. He's a guy I've had on leagues for years. If you're in a cap league, he's probably a guy I'm cutting. I actually cut him in one of my cap leagues. I was paying him way too much for what production I was getting out of him. So I like the young guys up front, but I'm probably avoiding any of the defensive players on this team. I don't like where they're coming from at all on that. So let's move on to the next team here as we get to the end of the Central, talking about the Winnipeg Jets, a team came out of nowhere last year, just a fantastic year for the Jets. Connor Hellebuyck, just phenomenal in goal. Absolutely was the best goalie in the league, bar none, all season long. They could not put it all together in the playoffs and get to the finals, but it just a huge year. I know we talked about it in the beginning of the season last year. We liked the Jets. We liked what they had, but we didn't think they had enough to make the playoffs. They were a shocker there as they kind of put it together. Kyle Connor, one of my favorite guys. I've had him on teams for years. He's an absolute sniper. Gotta love him. Mark Scheifele's back there. They've added us a couple new players. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see what this team does with some of the new additions. They got Nyquist. The big one's going to be interesting to see is, how does Jonathan Toews fit into this group as, missing the last couple years. There was a claim of long COVID for him, and he just, didn't have the energy, was out, has decided to try to make a comeback here. Is he going to be fantasy relevant for the Jets? That's, a huge question mark. I'm not sure I'm willing to invest much in that, to be honest with you. Toast, I don't know how you feel about it as well, but Are you taking a chance on Jonathan Tays? Or are you just passing and hope that he has a decent year as a huge fan of him as a person and as a player over the years of the Blackhawks? New team, been out for the last couple of years, so hard to come back. I don't care how hard you're working in the offseason. Is Tays going to be relevant and worth a draft pick in either redraft or picking him up off the waivers in your Dynasty league?
I don't think so. I would say that if you're in a redraft league, you need to go ahead and just get him in your last round of your draft, or maybe you see how he does like week 1, week 2, and actually pick him up. It's going to be really, really tough to kind of gauge because you just don't know, right? He hasn't been on the ice since he's been 34 years old. He's 37 now. I think it's a great, great pickup for Winnipeg. Hometown guy comes home. They have a ton of cap space. They have $16 million in cap space still, only a $2 million. And I'm guessing he's going to start the year off and maybe line 4 center, which is crazy, right? For Tays. I mean, like he's going to be a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about it. But line 3 maybe. So he'll have guys like Niederreiter and like Iafallo around him, which is no guys actually sneeze at. So I like Tays as a flyer, but you better not get him in a bangers league. You better not actually. I love him in a cats league, right? There's no better guy in the league when he was actually going at the faceoff at the blue dot. He was amazing. He's always tops in the league, close to 60%. So if you're in a cats league, take a flyer on Taves late. Hell, JT, you just entered a cats league with me, right? Taves may be a guy to go ahead and take a flyer on. I mean, honestly, he's going to get you a crap ton of faceoffs if healthy, and I think he's healthy now.
Yeah, I don't think the thing for me is I don't think he would have made the comeback if he didn't feel like he could do it because he's been out long enough that like you could easily just call it quits. But if I think there's going to be a chance he's gonna, what is he going to give you more than 1 year? I don't know, but I think he's going to like give it everything he's got this 1 year in the hometown coming back. To me, it's going to be a good story. Like I said, Winnipeg was just one of the absolute craziest stories of the year last year, and the fact that's how good that they were, and they all put it together. Me in our before we switched to a dynasty league and reset our home league, Kyle Connor was my keeper in our home keeper league for years and years. I love Connor. And I tell you what, there's a lot of these other guys that kind of on the fringe that have been fairly solid fantasy players. Cole Perfetti has been nice. He's been a guy that's been gotten you some points. Some of these defensive guys, way underrated. Pionk and some of these other guys that people aren't like running out to get, but they've actually gotten you some solid points over the years.
Yeah, Kyle Connor, man, is going to get paid. He's going to get paid handsomely. Again, left wing, right wing, eligible, 28 years old this year. JT's been well over a point per game player over the past 6 seasons. All right, so that goes back to like his year 22 or his age 22 year. So Connor is going to be very, very interesting. I would assume Winnipeg's going to be in it. They have Hellebuck. And when you got Hellebuck and you actually got, defense like, Pionk, and you actually got Morrissey, and even Luke Shin is a really, really good piece at 35 years old as well. You're going to be solid. You're going to be a solid team. Hellebuck knows actually how to keep the puck out of the net. I love Scheifele, Connor, and then you got a bunch of role players around that, right? But maybe a guy you need to look at this year. Will Cole Perfetti actually make a step forward this year? He's eligible at all 3 positions. And last year, if you look at Perfetti, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the stats this last year. Started to turn a corner. So at 22-23 season, 30 points. 23-24 season, 38 points. Last year, 50 points in 82 games. As a 22-year-old, you got to think Perfetti is going to make the next step. Again, redraft league, especially in keeper leagues. Think about him. All right. So this is a solid franchise. They're going to be in the mix. They put up a lot of points. They can stop the puck as well. You got to like them.
Yeah, Perfetti's one of those guys I got my eye on, especially in any kind of like a new Dynasty cap league. He's a guy I'm on. Former number 10 overall pick in 2020. He just seems like he's making that turn and he's ready to really crank it up. And so he's a guy I want now because I think he's going to be harder to get in the future. So I think now is the season to pounce on him. And I just like, Winnipeg, they just play so hard. This team plays so hard. Hellebuck gives them every chance to win every week. He was one of the best players in the entire league last year. He was carrying my team in our home league. Him and Bob and goalie were two of my best draft picks last year. They actually were fantastic for me, and we don't even set up like crazy, huge goalie scoring. We try to make goalies like reasonable scoring, and they still were two of my better scorers on my team. So I still think, that's another guy. If you're in a high scoring league, usually we wait, me to at least Toast, how me and you usually talk about, we wait on goalie. We don't usually take goalie early at all, but you need to check your scoring. If you have a high scoring league for goalies, Hellebuck is a guy you probably need to be on early, especially in a redraft league.
JT, we're talking about the league MVP. I mean, and we forget about that, right? Because we're like, okay, our fantasy leagues were over and end of April, and then they go on to actually put that award to Hellebuck. He's the league MVP and the Vezina Award winner at the same time. Only the third guy to actually do that. I'm going to go ahead and read off his stats this year, or last year anyway. But just 47-12-2 with a 2 goals against average, 925, almost 1,700 saves. It's hard to comprehend what he can actually do. And his fantasy points per game in our format, JT, his rookie year, he actually had 5.4 and 5.3. Since then, he has been over 6 points a game every season. It's truly remarkable.
And in our league, we don't pile up huge points for a win.
We do not.
We give people way more credit for saves and save percentage and how many saves you're getting and versus goals given up. We kind of lean on that as opposed to leagues that are big on like 5 points per win, huge loss minuses. We don't do that. I mean, if you're in a high scoring redraft league, he was a league winner. If you had one of those high scoring, we try not to do that just because goalies can be so crazy. So we don't do that in the leagues that we run. But there's a lot of those leagues out there. If you had them, there was a good chance you were in the mix.
Yeah, 9 seasons. He's always been goals against average in the 2s. Always. And always actually been in the save percentage of 900s. Never been a season where he's actually taken off. And I wouldn't say that Winnipeg's ever been like an offensive juggernaut, right? I mean, there's nobody better in the world. He is the best. If you want to go ahead and, especially in those leagues where you actually have to start 2 goalies, not 1, just 2. That's where you actually want to go ahead and draft him early. And I would say 2nd round pick. Let's wagon him, man. There's this, you can't go wrong. It's and I would say Winnipeg has got better defensively in front of him over the past 4 or 5 seasons. Here's the example. Saves 4 years ago, 2,155. 3 years ago, 1964. 2 years ago, 1798. And last year, 1664. They're getting better in front of him. That may actually not bode well for save percentage and actually saves like in front of him, but wins and losses, you can actually see where it's actually rising. So this guy is a superstar, of course, and MVP is goalie. You can't go wrong. JT, we went 1 hour and 4 minutes, and we're halfway through, but we'll get there. We're
moving along. We figure this is going to be a slightly longer episode here in the beginning. Let's jump into the Anaheim Ducks, a younger team. They made some moves, some nice draft picks coming up. They've added some veterans to this group, which we're really interesting with how young this team is. What can we expect fantasy-wise out of some of these Anaheim Ducks players?
I love Frank Vetrano on the third line, slotted to be actually with Ryan Strome and Troy Terry, another young guy as well. Vetrano does everything. He shoots a puck. He actually gets hits. He'll get you some blocks as well. He'll score some goals. In a bangers league, man, he is perfect. He's perfect. He's a top 15, 20 player. All right. But Leo Carlson, Mason McTavish, right down the middle as well. Man, uh, and they had Joe Quenneville actually coming in as their head coach. Now, Quenneville is not a guy who normally actually likes young guys. All right. But he's got to actually love the young depth that actually Anaheim has. Troy Terry, 27 years old. All right. They get Chris Kreider. So, all right. They got Kreider in a trade from the Rangers. But look, Vetrano, 31. You got Cutter Gauthier, 21 years old. Leo Carlson, 20 years old. Mason McTavish, 22. And then look at this young team. Beckett Senek, 19 years old. Senek will be a top 5. I guess if you have minors eligible players, top 5 to 7 players of all minor eligible players. He's that good. He's amazing. Sasha Pastujov. He was actually drafted this year, 22 years old. Love that guy as well. They are actually loaded with young talent. Their core is actually young. They got some good guys actually go around them, like Mikael Granlund, Alex Killorn, Ryan Strome, Ross Johnson. Okay. So it's not bad at all. But I tell you what, again, Joel Quenneville is getting a second chance in this league. And I just really, really like Anaheim. Quenneville's got to think this is the type of roster that he would have actually inherited when he actually entered as a Blackhawks head coach in I would believe that was actually the 2008, 2009, or 2010 Blackhawks. They're that talented. All right. So if you're looking for a dynasty, or I'm sorry, like as a fantasy option that may end up getting buried a little bit, again, Frank Vetrano is going to fall in a lot of ways. Again, he's not that great, sexy pick, but in bangers, he makes $4.5 million a year for 3 more years. He's only 31 years old. He does everything on the ice. And I like Troy Terry a whole lot. So don't sleep on these guys from Anaheim. Again, as I said with the Blackhawks, somebody's got to score the puck. And I actually like these guys to actually do it. So Vetrano, Troy Terry, those are your guys.
Yeah, Toast. This Anaheim team, while they're probably not going to win a lot of games, they do have some interesting players. Like I said, they've got some young guys on this team. The guy I've got on a few of my teams, Mason McTavish. I think he's one of those guys, a super high pick. People are a little down on him just because they haven't seen him score a lot, but he's building. He's building. Only 22. He was over half a point his first full season, over 0.6 points the last 2 years. I still like him. If somebody's out on him and they're like, yeah, I don't know if he's going to, because Anaheim hasn't been good. He's a guy. So, like, I like Terry, like you said. He's a guy that I think is sneaky good. And there's some of these late older players that have moved here, like you said, Granlund, Kreider. There's some guys you could probably, especially in redraft, you could get at the end of your draft. They're probably going to give you some points, give you some time here. But very interesting mix of all the young guys on this team that they brought in some of these veterans.
Yeah, and one young guy to keep a lookout for, JT. Again, another goalie we have to look at, but Lucas Dostal, and he's 25 years old. He will be their number one. I mean, there's no competition there, and I just like that for a dynasty league. The Ducks actually have a really, really good tradition of winning. And they've actually been rebuilding kind of on the fly a little bit, not a complete full rebuild like the Hawks or like San Jose, but they've kind of been there. And Dostal is actually, he's proven actually pretty darn good. Last year, 23 and 5 with a 310 and a 903. I'm like, not bad. Come on, guys. For a 24-year-old on a team that bad, actually getting 23 wins and being 500 and getting over a 900 save percentage and 1,600 saves, he's gonna be amazing in this league. So that's another guy. If you're in leagues where you actually have to draft a goalie or two goalies, you have to start two. Just wait on goalies. Nobody's thinking Anaheim Ducks like a lot of wins, like worth 3 points, 5 points, whatever. Wait for this guy. He'll be great on your roster.
Yeah, they moved on from Gibson, went to the Detroit Red Wings. That opens wide open for him to get. I mean, Gibson was getting all the starts, so it's wide open for him. Let's just jump in from goalie to goalie, Toast. We go to the Calgary Flames. Dustin Wolf, really solid last year, was a really good player. Kind of came out of nowhere in the goalie circles. He's another guy I would kind of throw in there to keep an eye on. And as a team that's not a great team, but a really young, good goalie that has huge upside, don't you think?
Yep. They play really good defense in front of them. Man, I tell you what, they got Prozesov from Philadelphia at $900,000 this year, and Wolf this year at the last year's deal at 24 years old at $850,000. They have $1.7 million tied up in their goalies. How about that? I mean, you got two really, really good ones. So Wolf, he is going to be. I mean, Matt, think about that. So he's going to command probably, I'm guessing, I'm going to predict right now, JT, at his age 25 year next year, he's going to go ahead and get a 7 or 8 year deal, probably in the neighborhood of probably 9. Yeah, 9. I like 9. Go ahead and, hey, write it down in your book. $9 million is what it will be, an 8 year deal, $72 million, because that's how good Wolf is. So last year, 29, 16, and 8 at a 264 and a 910 save percentage. And man, he is young. As a 23-year-old. So this was his coming out year. I mean, they found their goalie of the future. It's interesting. This is an interesting team because they have a mixture of veterans that are pretty old and young players are actually coming up. Here's a guy I actually like from not only a redraft perspective, but also a cap league and a keeper league as well. Matt Coronado, their right wing, 22 years old. He's got several years left on a $6.5 million deal. He is going to be a shit ton of value. Now, 24 goals, 23 assists, 47 points for 77 and 77 games for Calgary last year. Like not so bad. Guys, he's super young. All right. And they're tying their wagon to this guy. So Huberdeau, 32 years old. He's going to be there for a long ass time. They're going to hate that contract here in a bit. Same thing with Kadri. $7 million for 4 more years. He's going to be 38 when he's actually done. But Coronado, that is the best contract that I've actually seen in a long time for a guy that's only 22 years old. What he actually did as a 21-year-old as well. That's a guy. He is the best player on that franchise from both cap, cats, redraft, you name it. Get Coronado. I wish he was actually left wing and right wing eligible.
Toast, and we got to talk about it because our home league's a bangers league. The sneaky guy on this team that is a banger stud is Mackenzie Weegar, top 25 in our league in scoring over 4.5 points a game. The guy hits. Mackenzie Weegar, if you're in a startup bangers league or a redraft bangers league, get Weegar sooner rather than later. He's a great guy to have. He top 25 in our league in points. Just a dude that, you know, he's not going to get you a lot of points in a regular league, but in a bangers league, he's a must-have, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, JT, I'm bringing up his stats right now because I want to read them off. All right. So here we go. And Weegar is there. Again, our format, it's a bangers league. In our home league, it's not even close. He is the single best option, and it's not close. All right. So let's go ahead and see exactly what they have him projected for this year. So here we go. 215 hits, 186 blocks, 10 goals, 39 assists, 37 PIMs, 4.6 points per game, but hits, blocks, shots on goal 185, and assists. He's a Cats League dream. He's a Bangers League dream. This is the best player by far on our team. It's not even close, and Coronado is actually second.
Yeah, he's had over 200 shots twice in the last 4 years. Like you said, 184 last year. 223 hits was a career high last year. Almost 200 blocks, which he had 200 blocks a year before that.
Crazy.
It's just this guy. He's going to give you PIMs. It's wild. He had a career high 39 assists last year. 39 assists, career high, 8 goals, but he had 20 the year before, which was a career high for him at 23-24. He had 20 goals. That was his highest fantasy scoring ever, where he had 411 points, averaged 5 points a game. Last year, 367. So still monster season with 4.5 points a game. Just a guy that people kind of forget about. But if you're in a Bangers League, do not forget about Mackenzie Weegar.
Yeah, hey, JT, I will say here, look at that 23-24 season. 200 shots on goal, 200 hits, 200 blocks, 32 assists, 20 for a Bangers League. I mean, that's your top defenseman right there. That's insane, man.
He was like top 10. He was top 10 overall in scoring in our band. He was 24th, I think, last year in our league. He was top 10 the year before, which is wild for a guy as far as how late he went in our draft. That guy scored top 10 for you. It was crazy. Let's jump on to the Edmonton Oilers. Another trip to the finals. Could not get it done as the Panthers went back to back. This team, fantasy-wise, is one of the most exciting teams in the league. They put up points, high-paced, high-action team. If you bet on hockey, you're pretty much betting on the Oilers every time they play almost. This team is lightning in a bottle. They got off to a slow start last year, finally picked it up later in the year, made all the finals before coming up short. Obviously, two of the top players in the league, and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. What else do we have on this team? Obviously, McDavid, Draisaitl are guys you want. I don't care what league it is. I don't care what format, what the scoring is. Obviously, you want those guys. Super impossible to get in a dynasty league. If you've got them in redraft, you got to be top of the heap in order to draft them. Let's talk a little bit about the Oilers.
This reminds me of Taves and Kane back in the mid 2010s, like 2013, 2015. So Draisaitl's signed for $14 million for a millennium. All right. So 29 years old. And then McDavid, this is his UFA season. I think he will come back with Edmonton. He will, right? I mean, we'd all love him to be in our jersey, right? But odds are he's going to be coming back with Edmonton. He will command, and he'll have to take a discount. He'll have to. You can't get 20 million where you're going to. You're not going to be competitive. I don't care how much the cap's rising because you have Evan Bouchard at $10.5 million. You have Darnell Nurse at $9.25 million. You got Draisaitl at $14 million. You can't go 20. You have to go like 15, 16. And if you're not going to do that, you're not going to win. So this reminds me of like McDavid. This is really critical right now. UFA starting after this next season. Man, I mean, there's a lot of teams in great position. A lot of like original six teams, the Red Wings, the Blackhawks, that actually have a lot of cap space that'll actually say, you know what, we'll give you 20 million. We'll do it. We'll give you 20. Edmonton can't do that. So I just wonder like how this is actually going to turn out. But man, there's no doubt that McDavid will go down in history as a top 6 or 7 player of all time. It's already done. So but you just wonder if that will be an Oilers jersey or not. So this
Yeah,
is
I
the
mean,
last year of that deal.
it's like flashes of Wayne Gretzky, man. What if he
Yep.
leaves for an American team?
King's ransom,
Oh,
right?
it'd
Yeah.
be crushing to Edmonton to see him leave. Um,
And
while like
GT,
you said,
I will
it'd
say,
be great to see him somewhere new because it'd be awesome, especially if it's your team. But you also love to see him on Edmonton. I was rooting for them this last year once they got the finals. I wanted to see him get one, him and Draisaitl, but the Panthers were too much.
and JC, I'll say right here, like the Panthers are not going anywhere. That's going to be a dynasty. They're going to be so unbelievably difficult to beat, and McDavid's actually got to know that. And if Edmonton's not in a position to be able to pay him what he deserves to be paid, and what he deserves to be paid is close to $20 million, which is crazy to say because a cap, just give it 2 more years, it's going to be close to like $115 million. So he'll actually be commanding like 15%, which is actually pretty good. I don't think Edmonton can do that right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can actually do. But he's 28, man. They've actually made 2 cup finals in a row. They've been in their window with actually no hope of actually beating Florida. And I'm telling you, man, we talked about it a lot. Florida, this is one of the best dynasties of the NHL of all time. They're so set up, so great. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see where McDavid goes. My guess is, again, he will actually come back here. He'll actually sign here. But, man, they better clear up some space because they don't have – like, think about it. Nugent Hopkins, great contract. 32 years old, got 4 more years at $5.1 million. Trent Frederick, Mangiapane, Adam Henrique, Matthias Janmark, Kasperi Kapanen, a bunch of Blackhawks, bunch of ex-Blackhawks right here. They don't have that depth from 1-2-4. They're actually top heavy. You're not going to win that way. Not against Florida. So he's got to be thinking about that. And his presser he actually had at the end of the season, it was very like up in the air, almost like Edmonton, you better do something drastic or I may be gone. So that is going to be the talk of the NHL coming this next year. What he's going to do because he's going to get paid a shit ton, and it may not be with Edmonton.
Yeah, they got to figure out the goalie situation. That's kind of been their downfall the last couple of years. They put up points. The defense has gotten better, but the goalie situation has been a major, major problem. Anybody else you want to talk about from Edmonton before we move on?
Nope, they haven't done shit.
Okay, let's move on. Evan Bouchard, defense, like him. Ekholm has been solid. If you're looking for defensive guys, those guys are on your list. Zach Hyman, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, guys we like. A little bit later, you're going to take those guys in your draft. All right, let's move on to the next team on our list, and that is, speaking of Wayne Gretzky, Los Angeles, the Kings, a team that was a bit surprising last year. Got off to a crazy hot start before slowing down, but made the playoffs. This is a team headed in the right direction.
They are. I'll tell you what. Again, the Kings core with their best players, they're in good shape. They're young. Trevor Moore, Adrian Kempe, Quentin Byfield, Kevin Fiala, Warren Fogle. Like Warren Fogle, he's like a third liner. He's a pretty damn good third liner. I like their cap space. I like their team. But here's what I'll actually say. JT, from a fantasy perspective, they play that vanilla hockey, right? So that limits them on who's really valuable on that team. And honestly, in the end, Adrian Kempe is your most valuable player by far. He is the most reliable, and it's not even close. And after that, Drew Doughty. Drew Doughty is actually really old. He's unreliable. He's going to get hurt. So it ends up being in the end Adrian Kempe for this team. This is his last year. JT, you and I actually have him on our Dynasty League, Cap League. This is his last season on the $5.5 million deal, age 28. Next year, he is probably going to command $10 million. Who knows where he's actually going to go? It's going to be a pretty big deal. But if they don't keep him, the Kings are actually in pretty big trouble, in my opinion. So they actually have some decent prospects, but not good enough to actually hold up for or actually fill in for Kempe. Kempe is by far their biggest fantasy piece.
Yeah, I feel like I like some players on this team, but for fantasy wise, they just don't perform like you want them to. You're like, oh, I like that player. He's a good player. And then you look at the stat sheet at the end of the night and you're like, that's not what I was looking for points wise. Because like you said, I like Byfield, I like Fiala, I like Kopitar. Those guys just aren't putting up big fancy stats. It's just the way this team plays. I think they're a better real life NHL team than they are a fantasy team.
Yep, and JT, one guy, if you're in Dynasty, that I really, really like, and I actually have him. So in our Black Aces League, is Liam Greentree, the right wing, Los Angeles, 19 years old, 6'2", 100 or 207 pounds. And I'm telling you what, last year for the Windsor Spitfires, 49 goals, 70 assists, 119 points in 64 games. This is our next up and comer. So if you're in Dynasty and he signed a entry level contract last year, 4-year anyway, 942 this year, next year, and a year after that. And after that, he's an RFA. This is your next big, big guy to get from Los Angeles, Liam Greentree.
I like it. Let's talk about a team that's still not good, but it's exciting. They keep getting good young players because they keep drafting at the top of the draft, and that's a San Jose Shark. Shout out to Larry Keekley. My roommate from college was a big San Jose Sharks fan. My freshman year roommate, he loved the Sharks. This team, I tell you what, there's not a lot of good teams on the West Coast toast, but we watch a lot of West Coast hockey late at night when we get home doing all our other stuff and we throw on those West Coast games. There's some fun teams to watch, and this San Jose team caught my eye last year. They were an interesting team to watch. They were pretty exciting, and they got a lot of good young players.
JT, this is a team where I get jealous of because the Hawks are in the same spot. They always actually pick 1, 2, 3. The same as the Blackhawks. And I'm like, oh, the Blackhawks are better. They're better. But I look at actually the roster. I probably think San Jose is better, man. Celebrini he's a stud, man. He is so freaking good. Will Smith, William Eklund, and then you got actually Tyler Toffoli. That's a guy in some cap leagues, dynasty leagues. If you want to actually fill a spot, 33 years old, $6 million for this year, next year, and the year after that, 3 more years. Great deployment. He's playing with studs as well, like I said, Celebrini, William Eklund, Will Smith. I love John Klingberg. They're just I like them better than the Blackhawks, and that pains me to say that. But man, they have produced. JT, before we actually go and move on to the next team, let's look at Celebrini stats. And this is actually a guy right here from his age 18 year, 63 points in 70 games, 25 goals, 38 assists. They were dog shit. This is the worst freaking team in the league, next to the Blackhawks. And he puts up 63 and 70 as an 18-year-old. He's like Bedard, man. Generational talent. He played 20 minutes a game on ice. He's going to be 21 next year. This is a guy where I don't care if it's a redraft league. Go get him, especially in keeper. My God, if it's a keeper, it's not even close. He's going top 20. Okay? So Celebrini is a real deal.
And you got to think this team, they know they're years away. They're going to let him just go out there and play. There's no reason to do anything. Just let him go out, lead the team. He looked fantastic last year. I agree with you on that. He should only get better. I tell you what, and like you said with the Blackhawks, this is one of my favorite lines in hockey right now. Eklund, Celebrini, Will Smith. It's a young, exciting line up top. I love to watch those guys play. Again, a team that's still years away, but man, they're adding talent on top of talent, young talent, and young talent that's producing. And if you are in a dynasty league or in a keeper league, like you said, that's what you want. You want these young studs who are on your team for cheap and have a lot of years left, and then you're also producing at a crazy young age. You can't beat, especially in a salary cap league, where you're getting these kind of points out of these guys where they're on basic entry level contracts. It doesn't get any better.
No, they're in great shape. Again, I'm pretty much jealous. So let's just move on.
Yeah, let's jump into the Seattle Kraken. So Kraken had some pretty solid years. Took a step back last year. They've got some younger guys on this team as well. We talked about it last year in a couple episodes. One of my favorite moves was Cape Kako coming over here from the Rangers. Now, he's still building as one of those younger players that was drafted. He's still building, but Seattle feels like such a better fit than New York for him. I just felt like the pressure was so high. And I see New York just didn't feel like a good fit. As soon as he came over to Seattle, we saw the increase. We saw much more productive, looked like he was, felt more comfortable on the ice. I liked everything I saw. Again, not a high-end score. So he wasn't a guy going out there doing crazy things, winning you your league. But he by far had his best NHL season by a lot when he went to Seattle. So in the 49 games he was in Seattle, he had 10 goals, 20 assists, 30 points, 0.61 points per game, 17 minutes, which was a career high in minutes per game. His high 0.61 was as high as average points per game since he's been in the league. People forget, former number 2 overall pick in 2019. He's still only 24 years old. Not all these guys develop at the same time. He's a guy I like. You can get him cheap right now. I think he's going to be on the top line on this team, and I like this top line here with Matty Beniers and Schwartz. I think I like Katko for where you're going to get him. I think he's cheap, especially in a redraft leagues, and if you can get him in a dynasty, I like where he's going. Only 24 years old still, even though he's been in the league for 5, almost 6 years now. I really like what I saw at him moving to Seattle. Who else do you like on this team?
That is a big one, JT. And honestly, if you look at the stats, the Rangers did him bad, man. They just did not develop him the way. And honestly, Lafreniere for the Rangers as well. They could argue they did him dirty as well. But Seattle, once he got there, 49 games, 10 goals, 20 assists, 30 points in 49 games. And this was actually like when he actually went from the Rangers to Seattle, his time on ice increased by 4 minutes a game. His shot percentage actually went up 5 percentage points from 8.9 to 13.9. He found a home. Again, you say second round or second picks overall, they should not actually go discounted. Kako should not actually as well. Now, I will say he doesn't hit, does not block a whole lot, doesn't shoot the puck a ton as well. So you better end up going in with like points leagues, like specific points league, if you're actually going to draft Kako and draft him high. Because if not, you'll be pretty disappointed. He does not shoot the puck.
Yeah, you need to wait on him. You need to wait on him. He's my discount.
But I like where he's going. I like where he's going. JT, how about we go to the next team here?
Yeah, let's jump off of Seattle. Let's head to the next team in the group. Let's go to Vancouver. a team that has had a lot of talent, has been a disappointment of late. I know me and
Yeah.
you've had quite a few of these guys on our team, and we want them to be a lot better. What are we looking? Is there any way Vancouver finally starts stepping up fantasy wise the way we want them to?
Yeah. So hey, Kiefer Sherwood, in any format, because he hits so freaking much and blocks so much, and he's also actually scored some goals this year. At $1.5 million, man, he may be the best value pick on this entire team. So JT, if you go look at our dynasty league, he's a top 15 player because he has so many hits, so many blocks, all of that. So Sherwood is a guy you got to look at and like, hey, you know what? Got to get him. Brock Besser finally signs that long-term deal. They tied him up. There's a lot of rumor for him actually going places. He stays put there at a $7.25 million deal for 8 years. A great contract for a guy like Brock Besser. They get Evander Kane. Kane comes over for Edmonton, man. I kind of like this move. He's got one more year left on the deal, and then he's a UFA. I love Kane as a loner for maybe 1 year on a redraft league, getting great deployment. I mean, he's going to be a top 6. There's no doubt about it. And then Dakota Joshua.
He's
He's
a nice
eligible.
buy if you're in a win now mode
He
in
really is.
Dynasty, right? You can go get him for like a year.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, like Joshua is like left wing, right wing, center eligible, 20 years old. You got 3 years left on a $3.25 million deal. He does a little bit of everything. So if now, um, Quinn Hughes is just unbelievable. But Hughes in a bangers league isn't gonna like break the bank for you. But man, if you're in a straight scoring league, he's a top 10, 11, 12 player. So go get him. I like him. But this is a team where Demko, I actually have some shares of him, JT, and I have him in our dynasty league. I just expect big things out of him. They're really expecting big things out of him. He actually has $5 million on his deal this year, and he's got 8.5 starting next year for a 3-year extension that goes through 28-29. Demko is probably a top 5 goalie in the entire world. So I kind of equate their team to Winnipeg. It's very, very similar in the way they're actually built, where it's good defense, really good goaltending, good defense, timely scoring as well, and it just kind of lowball you, meaning like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and score 3 goals a game, and then we're just going to win. So that's the type of team you're going to get with Vancouver. So from a I guess from a fantasy perspective, Elias Pettersson, I don't trust his ass as far as I can throw him. All right. Brock Besser, I trust him. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of options. So not a lot of offense, great defense, great goaltending.
Let's finish out the show with the Vegas Golden Knights. What do we look at Vegas? They always seem to be in the mix. They got the biggest signing of the offseason. Let's talk about him.
Yeah, you know what, Mitch Marner, my God, I want to barf on the ground, JT, right now. He could have been Blackhawk. I mean, but why would he want to have been Blackhawk when he actually go to Vegas? Ever since Vegas is actually a franchise that came into the NHL in 2017, 2018, all they've actually do is win. They end up in an inaugural season or they make the finals. They've actually won cup. They're stacked with Jack Eichel as a young stud who's, again, going to be a UFA starting next season, the year after 26-27 as well. But man, $12 million for this guy at 28. What a great deal. They get Tomas Hertl. They've actually had previously from San Jose. He's actually tied up for 5 more years. Brett Howden, which is a big year. So I dropped Brett Howden in our dynasty league, bangers, because Brett Howden's like shot like something stupid like 22% last year. I dropped him. He's not going to do that again, right? But this is a team, and it's always actually been a team who knows how to win and score the puck and actually be there at the end. They're just one of the best franchises in the NHL. There's no doubt about it. Shea Theodore in defense, 20 years old. Noah Hannafin, 28 years old. They got all tied up really, really long. And Aiden Hill and Ilya Samsonov. All right, so they actually get Ilya Samsonov, Aiden Hill. This team is actually set, man. They're NHL caliber for winning the cup each and every year. From a dynasty perspective, though, you got to hitch it to Mitch Marner and Jack Eichel and Mark Stone if he's healthy. But Marner and Eichel, holy shit, are they going to put up some points?
Yeah, this should be a fun team to watch. They're deep, right? I mean, this is a deep team. I mean, you got in your third line, you got William Karlsson, Riley Smith, like just straight veterans. I mean, this team is in the mix. Vegas is going to be good this year. I need to look at the over/under wins total on them this year because I think that's going to be a solid bet. Like you said, fantasy-wise, this team is always in the mix. They score. They're always good. Aiden Hill, another one of those goalies we talked about. If you're going to wait just a little bit on goalie, he's a nice guy to grab, especially if you're in a start 2 goalie league. I like Hill a lot. Toast, we hammered away here. We knew it was going to be a long show, getting the whole West in here and starting off with the Blackhawks. We got it done without our buddy Aaron. We'll get him back next week on the show. Let's do our final thoughts for people here. Follow Toast at Toast Clark on the X. Follow me at JT Orange. Final thoughts here, Toast, before we call quits.
Yeah, so hey, JT, I think throughout the rest of the offseason here, it's going to be pretty good for us to go ahead and just go through positions, like centers, right wings, left wings, and go ahead and rank these guys. We're going to do some of that shit. And so starting next week, let's go ahead and cover right wings. Right wings is always thin in Dynasty. You got to get on them early and often. I like to cover those guys, and that'll carry us into the NHL season. I don't really care about fantasy football right now. I know you do. I don't. All right, this is my.
I'm in the middle of like 5 drafts right now, to be honest with you. My phone's blowing up, but it's okay.
Yeah. Yep. So, but again, hey, thank you for tuning in. This has been an amazing show. Can't wait till next week. We're going to go and cover right wings and fantasy next week.
Yeah, make sure everybody, if you get a chance, you can go follow us on Fifth Hockey on YouTube. Also, follow us on X at Fifth Hockey. Fantasy and Frames here Tuesday nights throughout the season. We'll be here with Around the Ice on Fantasy and Frames. And don't forget, Wednesday nights is fantasy football night on Fantasy and Frames. We've got shows all night long. We got Dynasty 365. We got Fourth in Frames. We've got Shoot the Gap IDP show. So we got Redraft, Dynasty, IDP. And if you're into college football, which you should be, Monday nights is our One Foot Down podcast. Check out One Foot Down on Monday nights on Fantasy Frames. If you like to get into drafts and just do a lot of Moneyball drafts, Thursday nights is our draft show. Jump on there, check them out. They're always doing all kinds of underdog drafts and a bunch of other leagues. So jump in there and check that out. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate it here on Around the Ice on Fantasy and Frames. For JT and Toast, we'll check you next time.